See, the thing about Subnautica is I really felt like you were a part of the development process. Yeah. Responded to almost all input asked of you as a player, and asked you to help make the game better. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I was saying, like, I feel like AAA companies should be a little bit less afraid of having that direct feedback feeling, because it's actually a really good way to build a community. Like, Warframe is an absolute flawed product. It's a great game, but it has issues. And they're slowly making the game better with every year. I think they hit a bit of a point. They were riding really high with Fortuna and Plains of Eidolon, and I think it got to their heads a little bit because the most recent Railjack expansion, a lot of people were just kind of not, like, checked out on, me especially. Like, I saw Railjack and I'm just like, man, this just looks kind of, I mean, it's fun. It just feels very raw. And so they're actually doing a lot of quality of life stuff that needed to have been done like ages ago, and they're finally focusing on that part. That's really exciting for me because, like, I totally checked out on that game. But it does feel like I am heard, for better or worse. No, always for better. Whereas, like, not so much with Anthem. Not so much with a lot of games, I guess. Another devil-touched ammo. Damn. Do we want to... Well, that's a new... No, that's not a new revolver. Dang it. Yeah, it's a two-hander. How do we want to put this on? It does a bunch of extra damage. Seems like Warframe is becoming another PoE. I'd say it's the reverse. Path of Exile is very much becoming a Warframe. Like, Warframe absolutely predates Path of Exile and was always like it. I think the thing is, because they're a slightly more... I'm not gonna... Yeah, a more complex game. That's probably going to annoy somebody. They're both very complex. I think it's just... For Path of Exile, because it's just an isometric game, you can get away with a lot more. As a first-person shooter with, like, extremely high caps, I don't think Warframe ever really figured out how to handle itself particularly well. And now that I'm thinking about it, I realize that a Path of Exile style map system would actually be pretty good on Warframe. Maybe. God, I need to play Path of Exile and, like, really sit down and finish it. Oh, we found the Warden. Hello, music. It got a little loud. Can I... Yeah, let's turn this down a bit. That's a bit better. It's still pretty loud. Oh, he's very fast. Okay, so we can't get our health values back too much. We do enough damage. I'm not too worried. Well, he had something to say. Dude is zippity doodah. Zippity ouch. Okay.
I can't do that yet.
There we go. That almost went bad. Okay, I'm just gonna flee.
That's locked.
Oh, it is locked. Shit. I lack a certain level of durability here that I think I desperately need for this fight. Let's see. Warframe has something like maps with fissures. Kind of. The fissures are not exactly Like, once you finish the fissures, you're just kind of done. I don't know. I could get into it further. I think the answer is I just need to try playing Warframe. Or not Warframe, Path of Exile to the end and just, like, really compare and contrast. Because I can't do so that accurately, having only finished... Well, finished. I haven't finished either of them. They're practically unfinishable. Path of Exile, there's always more grinds. Warframe, there's always more grinds. Path of Exile has issues where constantly adding temp leagues to the base game is bloating it. Warframe just seems to add bloat. Yeah, I think the problem is, maybe with both games, every game has a set amount of space in it. I don't know how to describe it apart from, like, certain mechanics can only carry a game for like 10, 20, 30 hours. Anything more than that just feels like it's bloat and not very interesting. Wow, those pants are out of date. Let's see. I'm a little over leveled here. Let's see, is this better? Not overwhelmingly. And Warframe lacks a proper endgame you're aiming for. Yeah, the endgame is just kind of keep going until you have everything. Okay. So we don't have the bounty table yet.
Is it finished? Is the warden dead?
I think this game got louder. Close out of this for a second. Yeah, everything just got loud for whatever reason. Oh, maybe it reset the... Oh, it reset the Windows audio meter. That's why everything's loud.
Is it finished? Is the warden dead?
I tracked him down and took his life.
The warden's defeat is a great victory for us, nay, for all of humankind. But there are many more ethereals out there, some much more powerful than Krieg. Perhaps more disturbing, though, there are those of our own kind who would see us dead to take what little we have, or just for the pleasure of killing. Among the innocent who passed through this prison on their way to Krieg's lab were many violent criminals, murderers, and worse. Many of them escaped to the northwest after the grim dawn, forming into ruthless gangs who prey upon drifters still traveling the roads. Since a river separates us and them, they have not been a problem thus far. Except we need farmers to get back to the business of growing food before we all starve to death. The farmland that supplied this region is to the northwest, and we need to secure a hold there. Mornay recently returned from Old Arkovia to the northwest and can give you details on the outlaw situation and what needs to be done. I realize that you have been through much in recent days, but we cannot rest just yet.
I'll speak to him.
So you must be the kid that's causing a stir in my absence. You've done good by dispatching Krieg. I knew that man in life. I dread to think of what he had become as an ethereal.
Captain Bourbon said to speak with you about the outlaws.
Aye, an old mess has come back to finally bite us right in the ass. The river's kept them at bay for now, what with the broken bridge. It seems the bastards have garnered a taste for the one hole in the world they were once so eager to escape. I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're at war, and if we don't take the fight to them, they will surely bring it to us. I'd much rather fight on my own terms. Wouldn't you?
What is the plan of action?
Before we do anything, we'll need to get that bridge repaired. Got men ready to do the work and some scrap to get you started. Just need to provide the remaining raw materials. Once that's all finished, I need you to enter the Arkovian foothills and show those bastards we're not a prize for the taking. Last I saw of them, they were mobilizing for something big across the river. Why don't you head on over there and introduce yourself?
What happened during your expedition to the northwest? No. Send out another scout, Elsa, to reconnoiter the lands of the northwest shortly after we secured Devil's Crossing. Wow, this is hard to read. What we found was a wasteland overrun with predatory beasts, blood-hungry psychopaths, and refugees living in constant terror on the run. Our mission together ended when a vicious band of outlaws surprised us in the night. Elsa had argued against having a fire that night. I was sure we were concealed. I wasn't cautious enough, and she paid the price. Thought I could protect her from anything, but When it came to it, I was felled by a bullet to the ribs before the fighting even broke out. Elsa fought like a devil, taking down 2 of the outlaws before they knocked her out. Took her with them and left me there to die. Couldn't give up, though, knowing those thugs had Elsa. Hobbled and then crawled, trying to make my way back to Devil's Crossing, but arrived only to find that the bridge had been destroyed. Collapsed in despair and thought it was the end of me. Woke some time later, in what remained of a little fishing village on the coast. A band of rovers had found me and treated my wounds. As soon as I could stand, I grabbed my dinghy rowboat and made my way back to Devil's Crossing. I'll be damned if I'm going to abandon Elsa to torture or worse at the hands of those killers. She's all I've got left in the world. We need to organize an offensive, and every second counts. Don't you think you're mixing a personal vendetta into this? Grim Dawn took my wife. Elsa's like a daughter to me, and I'm not going to let it take her too. The way I see it, Devil's Crossing needs this situation resolved as soon as possible, and I want those scum dead for taking Elsa. Seems our goals align, eh? Very well. Okay, let's see. Let's go back up to this guy.
Safe storage, no questions asked.
Okay, so I'm just going to store these things for a bit. So we got to be level 23 to get some of them. I guess we're close on the ring. We're not that close. Anything else? Move this over. I think we're going to get a new gun. Let's see. Let's see. I think everything's good. Okay.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Maybe I should have paid attention to that shoulder pad. Not overwhelmingly. I'm pretty happy with what I got. I should probably invest a little bit more into survivability, but hard to do. Okay, repair the bridge leading northwest. So this way. Gotcha. Repair the bridge. Yeah, I got enough scrap. And onwards we go. So, I have issues with Warframe's exclusivity with items. Kickstarter framed items that they sold that are no longer available. They only did that specifically, I believe, with the Kickstarter items and like a couple of launch things. I don't think they've actually had exclusive items since. And they realized that that was not popular with their people. They do kind of have carrot on the stick exclusivity, you know, Disney Vault style, which is the Prime Vault and blah, blah, blah. I think that sort of thing is kind of okay because it cuts down on the Vault a little bit and keeps people interested and gives them another avenue to make money. For better or worse. But I can understand the critique, but it's such a minor one in the face of things, especially because they gave Excalibur Umbra, which is just straight up better. And then the only other thing was like the Leto Prime, which I think is bad. Personally, I think it's an okay thing, and I forgive it mainly just because, like, if they didn't have those level of rewards to keep people, like, throwing money at them early on, Digital Extremes probably wouldn't have existed. I'd care about that a lot more if, say, whoa. What was that? Faction windows. Oh, neat. I'm really curious if you can actually ally yourself with the Ethereals along the way. Probably not. Hello? Oh. Just a boss. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really like it when developers do that. Oh. You'll pay for this. There's one at this prison. When he finds out what you've done, Edmund spits up blood. I wish I shanked you dead. Rest in peace, scum. I just want the scrap. See you later, dude. Okay. But I don't know. It varies, and I can totally understand why people would not like that sort of thing, but... eh. Splitting hairs. I like it how the gang is just this, like, massive group of people. Whereas, like, the people of Devil's Crossing, it's like maybe 15 people tops, and that's about it. Oh well. Prime Vault just puts people into a crunch to get everything. Yeah, I went through that. One of the first things I ever did in Warframe was specifically, I had to get Loki Prime before they vaulted it. And that was an ordeal, especially back then. It took forever. Glad I don't have to do that again, but it's also kind of I get it, you have to do certain things to live as a free-to-play game. I think I prefer what Grinding Gear Games does better. Because they just have really expensive cosmetics that they sell. And that's good enough. And, like, I'll give credit where credit is due. That's actually a decent way of doing it. But I don't know if that would work in Warframe's perspective. Whoa! Hidely ho, everything freaking hurts. Oh, do I need to get rations back? To get my healing capacity higher. I bet I do. Yep. That's the issue. I haven't found any rations since we fought the boss, so I'm actually running on a bit of a deficit here. I got it. Let's see. But no, I don't know. I don't think there's a perfect solution on either of these, because, like, no matter what, it's always going to come off as a bit money grubby. It's very hard to make money. It's very hard to fund games development. It's... The amount of studios that live and die based on, like, a handful of sales is kind of shocking and depressing. And so, like, yeah, I can kind of understand why people would be slightly more, well, I don't know, why studios might try and go for some extra funds with slightly exploitative methods. As long as it's not, like, just full-on loot boxes with pay-to-win mechanics, I'm kind of okay with it. Okay, let's talk to you. Stand back, I'm burning the shack down. My family does not need to suffer anymore in this horrible world. Is your family in there? Are you insane? Stay out of this, it's for the best. Look, things are bad, but we can't lose hope. What hope is there left? Good people are dying, and the world's overrun with monstrosities we used to spook our children with. Not have my family suffer any longer. I come from Devil's Crossing. It's safe there. Safe? What's safe anymore? We were safe out here once, too. Look at this place now. We defend it. There's shelter and drinking water. Please, join us. Perhaps this is a fresh start we need. I really hope you speak the truth. Alright, take us there. Boop. Freaking maniac. Where was I? I was reading something recently about I think it was a lady who killed her kids. Maybe it was a guy, actually. It's a story for both genders, honestly, but people that just, like, murder their kids because, you know, something about the world is scaring them, and it's like, you moron. Well, it's not gonna get better if you do stuff like that. I guess that's kind of the point. They don't care about the world getting better. They just want it to be convenient with them. They're very on point about the cost of games development. It's because I've lived it a little bit, and the amount of studios that I know that have gone belly up due to money problems, especially, meant I wanted to get informed. And I'd actually really like to get further informed. Like, at some point, I'm probably going to just contact a couple of my PR friends and game developer friends and be like, how much can you tell me about the back-end side of your thing so I can talk about it with more accuracy? But one of the things I was actually reading recently, it was actually the perception of cost when it comes to producing an indie game. Oh. You there, you're a dying man out, will you? What happened to you? Backstabbed by my partner, only man I thought I could trust in this forsaken hellhole. We were traveling, cart full of scrap we salvaged from some rundown homes, when I guess the bastard decided that splitting the profits 50-50 just wasn't gonna cut it. He jumped me in the middle of the night and stabbed me right in the gut, and made off with all the loot and left me out here to die. If you ever run into a man with a patchwork green jacket going by the name of Isaiah, you cut him down for me. Oh yeah, I don't suppose he got too far down the road, just pushing the cart by himself. Track down this partner of yours. Okay. Let's see. Right. Cost of games development and a couple other things. So, I was reading about, oh, wonder if you watched the trailer for Borderlands 3 DLC. Nope. I will probably return to my series of that when the DLC comes out. Maybe. I don't know. Borderlands games are long. And I find them a little harder to get into compared to, say, a Diablo-like, because the pure gameplay is just guns. If I could get a Borderlands-style game, you know, looter-shooter, with this level of, like, build variety and abilities to play with, oh boy, I'd play the shit out of that. Unfortunately, first-person shooters do not translate that well to ability uses and, crazy builds, so I doubt it'll happen. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I got Molotovs. Hell yeah. Alright, let's see. But yeah, I was watching a presentation from the PR guy for Descenders, and he was specifically talking about how pricing games is actually has more of a subconscious effect on people's like willingness to buy a game than you would think. So like apparently when Descenders was coming out, I think they priced it at like $25, $30 or something like that, and a lot of people thought, yeah, this is a game that, you know, I might even spend up to $40 for, which shocked me a little bit. Because to me, Descenders very, very much feels like a $20 game, but I think I'm just spoiled. But he was talking about budgets and, you know, being able to keep a studio alive, and that, you know, by pricing your game cheap, a lot of people assume it's cheap. And this is actually something I've encountered a couple of times. Very specifically, Hollow Knight was one of those games that I played. And it took me a considerable amount of time, and a lot of other people, like, saying great things about Hollow Knight, for people to stop saying that the game was just shovelware. For whatever reason, like, what moron sees Shovel Knight and thinks, yeah, this is shovelware, that sounds right. And so, sorry, mildly distracted. Oh, do I not have my... Oh, I don't have my flame shot on. I should turn that on. That's a damage upgrade that I could actually use. Let's see. But if they'd actually priced the game almost twice as much, they would have gotten about the same amount of sales, but a lot more people would have actually respected it, oddly enough. Which threw me off a little bit, because, like,
my inventory is full.
Oh, that's very loud. That doesn't honestly make a whole lot of sense to me. I get it. I get why it is the way it is, but just in my head, the idea of, you know, if I see a game that looks amazing for $15, I'm like, holy shit, I'm buying this. But apparently a lot of people are actually just like, $15? Yeah, it must be cheap, and they just move on. Wait, I need this gun back, I think. It's not better. We pretty much have no use for yellows at this point, do we? Ooh, hi. Is this better? 1 of 4 fire damage. We lose a little bit of health. But this is really good. That's really good for what I'm doing. Okay, damage to undead. Meh. What about this? Brimstone Shoulder Guard. Hell yeah. It's extra elemental damage, spirit offensive ability. That's a lot of health. Regen.
Put it to good use.
See, game's giving you Van Helsing vibes, as it should. I can entirely understand.
Got something you need stashed?
Why it would give you that impressions? Okay. Wow, that's a lot of HP regen. Is it worth it though? Yeah, for that level of a defensive boost. Wait, what is this? Oh, it's a medal. Oh, hell yeah. Let's see, required player level 23. I'm not 23. I'm not 23 yet. Okay, let's grab these two. I'm just gonna keep them with me.
I'll hold on to that for you.
Okay, I'll go sell the rest. Let's see. But yeah, honestly, I would say this is probably better than the Hellsing games.
Put it to good use.
That might be a bit biased, but like I really like Grim Dawn. I really liked Titan Quest too. And I'm kind of looking forward to whatever they make next. Oh, hi?
I trust that you are handling everything all right.
Well, did they like our housewarming gift?
I killed the man in charge by the name of Shanks.
You work fast. I like that. We'll need more of that for what's coming next.
What's our next target?
Darius Cronley. Last I've seen his face, they almost hung him for a double homicide. The warden intervened at the last minute in favor of a life sentence in Devil's Crossing. Seems there were ulterior motives after all. Darius Cronley is the devil-made manifest, devious and manipulative with a penchant for sin of every kind. He's the one running this gang, and he's the one we need to go after next.
You have a plan?
We have to hit them hard and fast, leave no room for a counterstrike. I've only seen a portion of their operations in the region, but they are really entrenched on the Four Hills in Old Arkovia. Shanks surely wasn't Darius's only lieutenant, so I suggest you find the rest and kill them. We don't want one of them taking over after Darius is dealt with. I don't have any names for you, but they will probably have equally clever prison names as our dead friend Shanks. But to really end this, you need to cut off the head of this operation, Darius Cronley. If what I hear is true, you will find him hiding out in the mines underneath the Four Hills. Lastly, my scouting partner Elsa must still be out there with them. If I venture to guess, Cronley has her in his clutches. Save her from that brute. I hear you are quite capable, so don't let me down. When you find yourself out there, I recommend you seek out a man by the name Quaid. He and his group forsook the peaceful ways of the Rovers in favor of fighting back against the outlaws. And I'm glad they did. It was Quaid's people that pulled me from the jaws of death.
I'll get on it. Okay. Just reading comments. Let's see. So, playing Wilson now, also a good ARPG. I liked Wilson. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. It had really good build variety early on, but then very quickly turned stale just because I think you unlocked too many cool perks that define your build too fast, which is good, but they didn't have enough like really interesting endgame perks except for things that would just kind of affect how much damage you did. And I wanted more stuff that made like projectiles bounce, multi-shots, multi-hit. Give me some kind of weird melee thing where I'm just chucking my weapons instead. Go nuts. Let's go to ARPG to start with. I would say easiest one to get into, Diablo. Diablo has really customizable difficulties and is definitively the simplest among them. And you can get through Diablo 3 story mode relatively quickly, so if you're not, like, super committed to it, it doesn't keep you forever. Followed by, I would say, Grim Dawn, and then Wilson, maybe? I caution against stuff like Torchlight, because Torchlight is kind of hit and miss. Like, I tried playing Torchlight before going on vacation, and I actually just didn't enjoy it for whatever reason. And Path of Exile, despite being arguably the best among them, is also the densest and the hardest to get into. So a lot of people will bounce hard off of... a lot of people will bounce extremely hard off of Path of Exile the first X number of times until they really get into it. But that takes a while. How was your vacation? Lovely. I don't go on a whole lot of vacations, and so just taking 4 days off to go just adventure around Anaheim, California, mainly at Disneyland, was just nice. I'm still tired, And my sleep schedule's absolutely, like, dungled, but, like, whatever. It was good. I enjoyed it. Let's say, Bod and Return Volson. Way too many issues. It's made you get the ARPG itch. I think Volson will be great once it's actually done. The odd part is, I thought it was done. Like, when it went 1.0, I was like, okay, cool. It's done. Let's get into it. And the answer is no. It's very much like the halfway point, give or take. Which is confusing to me. But still. I think it was still a good ARPG, just not necessarily one of the best ones. Just good. Grim Dawn mod recreates Diablo 2. Huh. Interesting. I doubt that I'd personally play that, just because there's only so much I can do. It might not be a bad idea to load it up at some point and be like, this is really rad. But I'll be honest, like, I actually prefer Grim Dawn, say, to Diablo. The amount of interesting build variety and ability synergies are kind of neat. I wish there was almost even more than they have. Like, if it did have the Diablo 2 style skill synergies, where it's like, put X number of points in this, and it'll come with, like, a small boon to some other stuff. Ooh. Free Grim Dawn key. If somebody's not paying attention in the chat. It's super worth it. Hey, thank you, Blaze of Ice, for the 18-month resub. And then there's the enemy with the fire immunity. I haven't run into that so far in this game, and I'm kind of glad, but I'm sure it'll happen, and I'm not going to be super happy when that does. I hated that about Diablo 2. I usually played Barbarian heavy physical, and you'd always get to, like, was it Inferno difficulty? And you'd start getting the enemies that are just immune to an element or immune to physical damage entirely. And it's just like, well, I can't hurt you. That was a bit suck. Oh, cool. I can zoom out. Yeah. Map completion. I don't think I need to be this focused, but still. Let's see, what were we talking about? ARPGs. Still want to go back. I want to play Last Epoch. A lot of people suggested that one. And I really do want to play Victor Vran, and I guess Van Helsing. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with this, just because who knows how many releases we're going to have. Oh, this is Isaiah. Who the hell are you, and what do you want from me? You, Isaiah? I'm here about your partner. Swine isn't dead yet. Let me explain. Huge misunderstanding. Say what you have to say, but make it quick. Drew's a worthless scum. This mess wasn't about the Hall of Scrap. That bastard tried to rape my daughter. Wow, Josephine, when we were last camped out. Confronted him and he got violent. Rotting out there along the road is the best he deserved for trying to overpower a young girl. Sorry, rush to judgment. Be more careful in the future. You can count on that. Travel safe, stranger. Of course, I have no idea if he actually has a daughter. He's probably lying through his teeth, but whatever. Yeah, they don't really have immune enemies in Grim Dawn. That's good. That's good design, because I absolutely hate that in games. It's not too far off of, like, having like, a bulletproof enemy in Borderlands, where it's just like, yep, you have to go up and melee this guy. What? Why? No, that's stupid. Save me the trouble. Let's see. What are my opinions on how Bungie is handling Destiny 2 after Activision? After the split with Activision. My initial experiences were actually pretty positive. I will admit I haven't kept up with it recently. Let's see, 1 second. Yeah, it's arguably better. I don't know if this one's better. That's very much ring for somebody else. Grab the lore at least. Oh, Hood. Blood Reaper's cowl. Bleeding damage. I just don't think I do a whole lot of bleeding. Anointed enemies who just had long total immunity phases in Borderlands 3. Oh, that sounds like it sucks. We never got that far. We got as far as finishing the first vault, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then we went on we went to my friend's wedding and more or less just didn't have time to go back. Probably will for the DLC. Hopefully the character editor's in so I can scale my weapons up. I absolutely hate the loot treadmill in Diablo comparatively. It's just not as fun, at least from my perspective. I prefer, like, this kind of loot treadmill is okay because the equipment you pick up does not change your gameplay as much. It kind of does. There are certain, like, proc effects that are really cool and give you nice bonuses. But, like, a bad gun in Diablo 3, or not Diablo 3, Borderlands, is, like, if you're stuck with a bad gun for too long, like, it just kind of ruins the game for me. And that's part of the reason why I like ability systems a little bit more, that you can, like, fine-tune and customize. Depending on who you ask, it's either good or bad. Huh. I don't know. We'll see. I think I just would prefer it if they actually divorced a lot of the gameplay from the ability system. Like, give me guns that level with, like, the character, or that I can upgrade or something. And then, like, really spec hard into an ability or a talent tree, like in Path of Exile. I think that would be the smarter way to do it. I am sinking slowly off my chair. I should stop doing that. It's the other reason why I was thinking maybe I should actually consider face cam a little bit more, because this way I actually have to have good posture, and it is good for good posture. Let's see. Page 2 on the character screen, you can actually mouse over and it sees how much damage you do of what types. Hey, that's actually really helpful. Let's see. Page 2. Fire strike. No. Here, weapon damage. Looks like it's just, raw? Or maybe it's down here. So you have pierced, no bleed, no trauma. Okay, so it's not quite mouse over, but close enough. Digging the music right now. It's pretty good. Anything else here? No, doesn't look like it. But yeah, I'll probably take a look at it anyway. I'm a huge fan of what I did in Borderlands 1 and 2, where I effectively said, don't really want to do the loot grind. Let's just pull up a character editor, and after every session, just scale up my guns. So, like, the good guns I would carry with me, and the bad guns would just get sold, obviously. So, like, if I had a sniper rifle that was really fun to use, I just keep that the whole game. Instead of being like, okay, well, now it's out of, now it's under levels and not super good, and you're always looking for a gun, not that's going to be fun to play with, but that's good enough for you to be able to, like, complete content without, like, gimping yourself too much. And I don't like that system. That's harder to work with comparatively. Whereas, like, this game, I can switch out guns left and right, and it's not going to make that big of a deal. And we have Grieven and Bernard. Hello, pleased to meet a friendly face out here. Bandits don't usually grant us the courtesy. Since you're traveling these parts, I was wondering if you could help us out. What do you need assistance with? Our elder, Matthias, has gone missing. Following a recent raid on our camp, the elder was determined to keep our talisman, a precious relic by my people, away from their greedy hands, and so he fled into the nearby ruins when the bandits showed up. It's been several days, and I'm beginning to fear the worst. Please, if you find yourself exploring the ruins to the west of Staunton Mine, seek out Elder Matthias. If it's as I fear and the elder is dead, please at least recover the talisman. It's a small object carved from bone and carries great spiritual significance to us. We'd be eternally grateful for its return. Greetings, stranger. Pleasure to meet someone who doesn't begin a meeting with weapons. Can't say the same for the gang up the hill to the east. Having trouble with bandits? Violent, bloodthirsty murderers, all of them. Everything we despise in this world. Now they set up a barricade along the road to trap travelers such as ourselves. Set up camp here while we decide what to do. Best course of action would be to blow up that barricade, allowing our brothers and sisters on the road to travel in peace. However, we lack the means to do so. Say, you look like a capable sort. Let's make a deal. Staunton Mine is to the west of here and is abandoned, but may have some explosives. Recover some dynamite and use it to destroy that wrecked blockade. I can offer you some coin for your troubles. What do you say? Sure. Alright, so let's level up. I'm gonna keep just pumping points into that along the way. Let's see. It's okay. I'm not using pets. Oh, that actually looks like a cool gun that I'm not going to use. I think I'm just gonna get rid of greens. Sometimes I save them so I can give them to another character, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Not with this game. Well, let's see, I don't think we need that. A lot of this is actually kind of useful. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of these are components. Okay, now does he have any interesting guns? Not as much, no. Okay, wonder you're gonna play Baldur's Gate 3. Absolutely. I'll probably do a co-op series with Shell when it comes out. It's going to be coming out in early access, which is a bit of a shame. I know I was kind of a proponent of early access earlier, but my one problem with Larian Games early access is it means I more or less play like a little bit of it, and I'm like, yep, this is neat, and then I just don't play it for like months, and then I have to start entirely over. I don't like early access story games. Like, I'd almost prefer it if they didn't have a story mode and it was just pure, like, adventure dungeon crawling, like a roguelike mode. And then the story mode was, like, the full release or something like that. That'd be so much better, in my opinion. Because then I could play it to my heart's content. Really get into the mechanics and so on and so forth. But then when the actual early access period's over, then I can sit down and be like, yes, okay, so what's the story of this game now that I'm a master at playing it? Only a couple of games actually do something similar, and it's a bit of a shame more don't. Because story is the one thing I don't like to do piecemeal, because then I'm like, okay, what happened last time? Let's just start. Yeah. So chances are what I'll probably do is, yeah, just play like the first 4 or 5 hours and be like, cool, we'll be back later. Yeah, early access Tales of Symphonia, no thank you. Early access Castle Crashers, not a bad thing. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, Castle Crashers, there was a story, but, like, who gives a dang? It was mostly just dumb and memes. And there's nothing wrong with either of those. Whereas, like, I was... Ooh. I don't know. What other story-based games have been early access that I'm just like, meh? Well, I guess to a lesser degree, Subnautica. I think I'm more okay with it with Subnautica because while the story is really interesting, it kind of holds itself based on the it holds itself well based on the pure gameplay along the way as well. Please, stranger, take this talisman. I carried it away from my camp to prevent the bandits from stealing it, but nature has passed judgment and I'm not long for this world. Pauses to clear his throat of blood. I implore you, bring the talisman to Grieven. He's at Rover Camp, just east of Staunton Mide, in the Arcovian foothills. Tell him that I died protecting our relic. Sure. Wander is sitting. Yeah, I can only stand for X number of hours in a given day before my legs get tired. This should be no surprise to anybody. But yeah, absolutely gonna play it. Also wonder you're gonna play Minecraft Dungeons. I probably will. I'll see if I can get a group together. I don't know how much I'm going to play it. I think my main issue is just like I don't care much for Minecraft. Visually, it's a very not me kind of game. I know there's like texture packs and whatnot. That said, the gameplay actually looks pretty fun, so I'll probably play it. Yeah. Let's see. I'll admit, I don't necessarily want to turn tonight into a Wander Will You Play. I'd rather talk about, like, greater... other off-topic things. Wander Will You Play is kind of frustrating for me because no matter how much I say, like, hey, yeah, I'll play Minecraft Dungeons or Baldur's Gate 3, I'm still going to be inundated with people asking the exact same question day in, day out. Whoops. And so no matter how many times I answer anybody, it's just like, Wander Will You Play Minecraft Dungeons a week from now? Alright, we should probably actually take a look at some of that new equipment. Also dynamite. Okay, so new repeater is not better than what I have. It has a bleed chance. Not super excited about bleed. The regen per second, so I'm probably going to keep that. Are these scaling up? No. I just don't need to replace them much. Extra movement speed, extra EX speed, bleeding resistance, entrapment duration. I like the movement speed, just baseline. So I'm going to hold on to that.